Hello and welcome to A Spot of Positivity. Good to have you here on the show with me. And not only you, but I also have my friend Heather here who's going to talk to us today. So welcome here, Heather. Very nice to have you on A Spot of Positivity today. I've asked Heather to come on the show because I thought she'd have some interesting things to share, a little bit about a topic that I think a lot of women think about, and that's how to get their house in order, how to get rid of clutter, all that kind of thing. So Heather has had a level of success with that, and I just wanted you, can you just tell us a little bit about your journey to free your house of clutter, and what inspired you, or who inspired you? No, wait, tell me about yourself first.
So I'm Heather, and I live in Scotland, and I met Rosalie, golly, 20 years ago, possibly, almost.
Yeah.
So we go way, way back, but she's a good friend, and yes, it's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
And you've got 4 children, 5 children, 6 children, what is it?
I have 4 children. I have 2 adult children and 2 that are still with me at home.
Okay. And
3 girls and a boy, my poor boy.
And a couple dogs.
And a couple dogs and a horse and a couple guinea pigs. And I think that's it at the moment.
That's a good start. So
it's enough.
It's enough to
cause. So there's lots of clutter.
Yeah.
You can tell we have lots of people, we have lots of stuff. Yes. When you have lots of people, you accumulate a lot of stuff.
And at some point you thought you had to do something about this stuff, and you...
Yeah, I suppose, I'm trying to think when it all began. I think it was maybe a simultaneous thing where my daughter Haley, who is like the most organized, amazing person that I know, listened to a book, and she told me that I really must basically get my act together and declutter our house. And so she kind of nudged me in that area. But it was also at a time where I had to go back and help my mother. She was moving into an assisted living home. Mm-hmm. And so basically the house that she lived in for 50 years, I had to go back and basically clear out that home. And so it was kind of like a process that sort of happened at the same time. So I feel like over the last 2 years, like that's sort of been my whole life, is just decluttering and getting rid of stuff. And I suppose it really made me think when I had to do that to her house, and I was the only one there really doing it. She wasn't really able to do that. And I just thought, oh, I don't want my kids to have to go through this. I don't want my kids to have to go through all my junk and have to make those decisions.
Many years from now.
I am, exactly. But I'm on the journey because it's so easy. We all know we get stuff and, we love it at the time and we can't live without it and we have to have it. And then, maybe there's this bit of feeling guilty, like, oh, but then I don't want to really throw it away because it was special. But at the end of the day, the longer you live, the more stuff that builds up. And eventually you get to the point where, it's maybe sentimental, but you don't really need to have it in your possession anymore. Mm-hmm. Because it's just taking up room and collecting dust and,
Yeah.
So that in a nutshell is kind of where I began.
And what was this book that inspired you?
So it's Marie Kondo, mm-hmm. And it's the KonMari method. Mm-hmm. You may be familiar with her because she has actually done a Netflix series, and I think her popularity has grown.
Yeah.
So she's a lovely little Japanese lady. And it's sort of a method that she's come up with, and there are thousands probably of methods out there. But I really liked it, and it's very systematic, and it's very satisfying, I think, because you really do appreciate. It's about appreciating, but letting go of. And I think those are the 2 things that really struck a chord with me, I guess, you know, that I appreciate, but I can also let go.
Yeah. So what have you managed to accomplish in your home? Which rooms have you sorted out, or is it
Well,
really
it's
room by
not
room,
really,
is it? It's different than
it's not a
that.
room by room method. No, it's I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think the first category is actually books. So rather than do room by room, and I think I kind of like this approach as well, is she'll say, get all your books from every room and put them in a pile. And that's great because, you know, if you go room by room, you might miss something, or you might not see the actual amount of books that you actually own if they're scattered all about the house. So I think it helps you see one category as a whole. And I think it is easier, you know, and then you're not like later on down the line going, oh, but I've already done books, but oh, here's more books and I just won't bother. You know,
Yeah.
it really forces you to do that category and be done with it and then move on to the next category.
So it can be quite shocking when you see how much you have. It's kind of upsetting
Yeah.
and shocking, and I think that will help you to get rid of some things because you really don't want to have that much, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing about the way she has things in order is that she purposely has the things that are maybe the easiest to let go, the least sentimental items, and the most sentimental items are at the end. So like once you've done the easy things, it gets easier and easier and easier, you know, to where it's almost like, you know, a joy to let go of some things. And you kind of realize, oh, I let go of those and that's all fine now. You know, you don't have this thing of, oh, I can't throw anything away ever because I might need it or use it or I love it so much. You know, it does help you get into the mindset of clearing out is a good thing. And the freedom and joy that you feel afterwards. Like just a little testimony of my success, I suppose, would be that, well, we did do a couple of rooms as a room rather than the method. And the reason why was because we were getting new carpets down. So before we got new carpets down, I wanted all the walls painted, which meant we had to take everything out of the room. So because of that, we did do sort of a room by room,
Right.
A couple rooms downstairs. But then when we put everything back, we only put back what we really, really wanted, what we really, really needed, what we really, really loved. And it's so nice now because I don't feel like there's all this stuff laying about, you know, and you're not having to tidy as much. You're not having to, you know, look at stuff that you don't maybe really love. Another Conroy thing is, does this item bring you joy?
Yes, that's quite a famous little thing.
And some things, you know, some things maybe don't bring you joy, but you still need them. Like,
yeah,
I maybe don't get complete joy out of a blender, but you know, it's a very necessary item. And I do get joy out of my smoothies. So therefore, you know, it's something I have to have. But about objects bringing you joy. And it really is, it gives you such a sense of a more peaceful, organized home. Yeah, it's definitely been good. And I'm not finished yet. I am still on my way because I have boxes of stuff in the attic and boxes of stuff, you know, from many years of like selling things on eBay that I still need to do this with. But yeah, I am getting there, and it is well worth it.
Do you feel guilty sometimes if there's things that you say you haven't used them or something like that? You think, well, I was really hoping to do this craft, or I was really hoping to use this thing or to read that book and I didn't do that. Is that hard?
You know, the other day I gave away, I went through my craft cupboard. So that was one of the next categories, and I did that. And I think it was easier because there was stuff in there and I thought, oh, this is stuff that I had specifically bought and I was planning on using it. But how many years ago was that? Like, let's be real, like maybe over 10 years ago, probably I purchased those things. And there was another family it's in the middle of lockdown. And I thought, you know, they'll use that and that will really bless them. And so I thought it wasn't hard at all because I thought, if I really want to do that project, I can go back out and I can buy the stuff again, you know, and there's maybe that little bit of, oh, well, is that wasting money or whatever, but not really, because if I'm not doing it anyway, and it's sitting in a drawer, that's wasting money just as much.
That's
so
right.
I blessed someone else.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're enjoying that craft, and chances are I probably would have never done it anyway.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, our time's almost up, unfortunately, believe it or not. But I think what you've said, it inspires me to just even do a little surface, just noticing things, keep my eyes out for things that I really don't need or don't make me happy or whatever, because even though I've just recently moved to Cyprus, it happens automatically if you aren't consciously, deliberately, mindfully getting rid of stuff. And it's really inspiring. And I'm sure a lot of people are seeing the same thing. Should probably go take a look. And it's worth reading. Worth reading the book.
Yes, get the book, read the book, watch the series.
Yeah.
I would say if you really want to do the method, it's probably better to read the book, because the series just highlights certain things. You don't get the full picture. I mean, it's great because you get to see real life people doing the thing. But to understand the full method, I would say, read the book and go on our website. Yep.
Of course.
And good luck.
Of course, everybody, will find what parts will work for them and stuff like that. Like anything else, like in methods and stuff, they have to be kind of streamlined and tailor-made for yourself. But very inspiring, and that's cool to talk to somebody who's really been doing it. Oh, I had one more question. I know we're past our time, but I was going to ask you, was it difficult, or did you find any challenges in roping your family into, or inspiring them into that, or did they come along quite easily?
Well, Haley obviously forced me to do it, so she was well on board. I think when they saw me doing it, I'd say Lance started maybe getting my husband started wanting a little bit of a nudge to, oh, maybe I could do this too. And then the girls, my younger two, have, taken some of it on board. And obviously they just have kind of one room. Mm-hmm. But when we do things like, say, games and that, or something that is literally, family owned, it's a family thing. It's not just, say, my decision to get rid of something. Yeah. Then, they'll come on board and they'll, they're happy to participate. And it's good. It's good. And hopefully it will teach them, to keep going and to keep doing this thing throughout their life.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and
thank you for having me.
Telling us about this, and it's really inspiring. So I hope you all, whoever's listening, will go and throw that thing away or take a look at the book, even better, and see what you can do to declutter your home. And come and join us again on the Spot of Positivity.